Most men think attraction is loud, obvious, impossible to miss. But the truth is, the strongest signals a woman gives you are the quietest ones. She won't always tell you how she feels, but her body will. And one of the most overlooked signs, the way she crosses her legs around you. You've seen it 100 times, but you've probably never understood what it actually means. Nonverbal communication often carries far more weight than words ever could because it reflects what a person feels beneath the surface, rather than what they choose to say. People can carefully select their words, filter their thoughts, and present a version of themselves that fits the situation. But their body language operates on a more instinctive level. Small movements reveal emotions they may not even fully understand themselves. Before we go deeper, if you've ever been confused by mixed signals, or wondered, is she actually interested, or am I overthinking this? Then pause for a second and hit the like button. And tell me in the comments, what's one signal you've misunderstood in the past? My name is Sarah Jones, and today I want to talk to you not just as a psychologist, but as someone who deeply understands the subtle language women use when words feel too vulnerable. Because the truth is, women rarely communicate attraction in direct, obvious ways, not because they want to confuse you, but because subtlety feels safer. Think about this for a moment. Have you ever been in a conversation with a woman where everything seemed normal on the surface? She was smiling, talking, responding, but something felt off? Like there was another layer beneath the interaction that you couldn't quite decode. That feeling you had? That wasn't confusion. That was your intuition picking up on signals your mind hasn't yet learned to interpret. Here's where most men go wrong. They listen only to words, but words are edited. Words are controlled. Words are often designed to protect, to maintain social harmony, or to avoid vulnerability. The body, on the other hand, doesn't filter in the same way. It leaks truth, quietly, consistently, and most importantly, honestly. When a woman feels comfortable and emotionally open, her body expands, her posture relaxes, her movements become fluid, effortless, almost unconscious. There's a softness to her presence. She isn't guarding herself. She isn't calculating every move. She simply exists in the moment with you. But when she feels uncertain, guarded, or even slightly uncomfortable, her body does the opposite. It contracts. She creates subtle barriers, crossed arms, shifting posture, angled positioning. And one of the most common, yet misunderstood, of these signals is how she crosses her legs. Now let me give you a real-life scenario. Imagine you're sitting across from a woman at a cafe. At first, her body is open. She's leaning slightly toward you, her shoulders relaxed, her legs loosely positioned. Then something changes. Maybe something you said, maybe something she felt internally. Suddenly, her legs cross tightly. Her body leans back just a little. Her movements become more controlled. Most men ignore this moment, but this is the moment everything shifts. Because leg crossing is not just a habit, it's a response, it's emotional, it's contextual. And when you learn to read it correctly, it becomes one of the clearest windows into what she's actually feeling. But here's the key. Context matters. A woman sitting comfortably with her legs crossed in a relaxed environment may simply be at ease. Her posture is natural, fluid, unforced. There's no tension, no defensive energy. In this case, leg crossing means nothing more than physical comfort. But now imagine a different scenario. Same posture, different energy. Her legs are crossed tightly. Her body feels slightly closed off. Her movements are minimal. She isn't leaning in, she's holding back. Do you see the difference? It's not the action itself, it's the energy behind the action, and this is where emotional intelligence begins. Not in observing what she does, but in understanding how she does it, when she does it, and why it happens in that moment. Let me ask you something honestly. Have you ever assumed a woman was interested in you, only to later realize she wasn't? Or worse, have you ever missed clear signs of attraction because they weren't obvious enough? This is exactly why understanding subtle signals matters. Because attraction is rarely loud, it's layered, it's quiet, and it reveals itself through patterns, not isolated moments. For example, the direction of her crossed legs can tell you more than you think. If her legs are angled toward you, it often indicates engagement, curiosity, a level of comfort in your presence. Her body is naturally orienting toward what it finds interesting. But if her legs are crossed away from you, combined with a slight turn of her torso in the opposite direction, that's not random. That's distance. that subtle disengagement. And here's the part most people miss. It's not conscious. She's not thinking, let me turn away from him now. Her body is simply responding to how she feels. That's why body language is so powerful, because it bypasses intention. It bypasses control. It reflects truth in its rawest form. Now, I want you to imagine another situation. You're talking to a woman, and she keeps adjusting her leg position, crossing, uncrossing, repositioning. At first glance, this might seem meaningless, but look closer. Is she relaxed? Are her movements smooth and natural? Or are they stiff, slightly tense, almost restless? Because there's a big difference. Smooth movements often indicate comfort, attentiveness, even a subtle awareness of you. But abrupt, tense movements, that's internal conflict. That's uncertainty. That's her body trying to find balance in a moment that doesn't feel fully secure. And this is where I want you to shift your mindset completely. Stop looking for one magic signal. Start observing patterns, because no single gesture defines attraction, but repeated behaviors, aligned signals, and consistent emotional cues tell a story that words never will. Let's go deeper into something even more revealing: orientation. Human beings naturally move toward what they're drawn to and away from what they're not. This isn't something we learn, it's instinct. When a woman is genuinely interested, her body begins to align with you. Her shoulders turn toward you. Her torso faces you. She might lean in slightly, not enough to be obvious, but enough to close the emotional distance. It's subtle, almost invisible, but once you see it, you can't unsee it, and the opposite is just as powerful. If her body is angled away, if her feet point elsewhere, if her attention feels divided, then no matter what her words say, her body is already telling you the truth. Feet in particular are one of the most honest indicators. Why? Because people rarely think about controlling them. While someone might manage their facial expressions or tone of voice, their feet often reveal where they truly want to go. Now pause for a second and really think about this. How many times have you focused on what she said instead of what she showed? How many opportunities did you misread, simply because you were listening to words instead of observing behavior? This is where everything changes. Because once you understand this, you stop guessing. You stop overthinking, and you start seeing interactions for what they really are. And that's where real confidence begins. Not in forcing outcomes, but in understanding reality clearly. And in the next part, we're going to go even deeper into why subtle feminine signals are so often misunderstood, and how most men unknowingly misinterpret attraction without even realizing it. Now here's something most men never realize. The reason you've been confused isn't because women are complicated. It's because you've been taught to look for the wrong kind of signals. Subtle feminine cues are often overlooked or misunderstood because they don't appear in direct, obvious forms. They exist in the space between actions, hidden in tone, timing, and micro movements. And let me say this clearly, this is not your fault. You were conditioned to expect clarity, to expect direct communication, to believe that if someone likes you, they'll just say it or show it in an obvious way. But feminine communication doesn't always work like that. It's layered, it's nuanced, and most importantly, it's emotional before it is logical. So instead of bold declarations, attraction often shows up as patterns. Repeated subtle behaviors that only make sense when you zoom out and see the bigger picture. And this is where most men make a critical mistake. They analyze moments instead of patterns. Let me give you an example. A woman smiles at you. You think, she's interested. But that same woman smiles at everyone. Now you're confused. You're trying to define her feelings based on isolated moments, instead of observing consistency over time. Because real attraction doesn't live in one moment. It repeats itself. It shows up again and again in slightly different ways, reinforcing the same emotional direction. So instead of asking, what did that one action mean? Start asking, what pattern is forming here? Now let's talk about something even deeper, context. Because the same behavior can mean completely different things depending on the situation, the environment, and the emotional dynamic. For example, a woman adjusting her appearance, fixing her hair, straightening her clothes, can sometimes indicate attraction because she wants to present her best self in your presence. But in another context, she might simply want to feel composed, confident, or socially appropriate. The same action, completely different meaning. And this is why surface-level interpretation fails. Now I want you to think about a moment from your own life, a time when you were sure a woman liked you, but later realized you misread the situation. What did you focus on? Was it a single gesture, or did you observe how she behaved consistently over time? Be honest with yourself here, because this awareness is what separates confusion from clarity. Another reason subtle signals are misunderstood is because they are often layered. A slight smile alone means very little. A brief glance alone means very little. A small shift in posture alone means very little. But when these signals appear together and repeat, they begin to form a pattern that reflects emotional intent. This is where true understanding happens. Not in individual actions, but in how those actions align with each other. Imagine a woman who consistently faces you in group settings. She maintains soft, natural eye contact. She subtly mirrors your movements. If you lean in, she leans in. And occasionally, she adjusts her posture, crosses her legs toward you, or repositions herself in your direction. Individually, none of these are definitive. But together, they tell a very clear story. And this is exactly how attraction works. It whispers before it speaks. Now here's another layer that most people completely overlook: emotional safety. Women often communicate indirectly not because they want to be unclear, but because subtlety allows them to maintain emotional control. Expressing attraction openly creates vulnerability. It opens the door to rejection. But subtle communication? It allows her to reveal interest gradually, without fully exposing herself. It creates space. It tests the interaction. It observes how you respond before going deeper. And if you don't understand this, you'll misinterpret her behavior as inconsistency, when in reality, it's emotional intelligence. Now let me ask you something important. Have you ever pulled away from a situation because you thought she wasn't interested, only to later realize she actually was? This happens more often than you think, because real attraction is often quiet, measured, controlled. It builds slowly, through comfort, familiarity, and repeated positive interactions, and if you rush it or expect instant clarity, you'll miss it completely. There's also another trap: stereotypes. Most people carry preconceived ideas about what attraction should look like. Maybe you've heard things like, if she likes you, she'll make it obvious. If she's interested, you'll know immediately. But these are oversimplifications, and they're dangerous, because they blind you to the reality of human behavior. Attraction is not a formula. It's not predictable in that way. It's influenced by personality, past experiences, emotional state, environment, and timing. So when you rely on rigid expectations, you either miss real signals or create false ones. And both lead to the same result: confusion. Now let's go even deeper into something that changes everything: indirect attraction. Because attraction is rarely expressed in direct statements. It exists beneath the surface, revealing itself through behavior rather than words. And one of the strongest indicators of this is attention. When a woman is drawn to you, her focus naturally gravitates toward you. She listens more closely. She remembers small details. She responds with more presence, more awareness, more emotional engagement, and she doesn't announce it. She simply does it, quietly, consistently. Even in group settings, this becomes obvious. Her energy keeps returning to you, even when there are other distractions around. That's not random, that's selective focus. Another powerful indicator is consistency of behavior. Words can change, moods can shift, situations can vary, but patterns remain. If she consistently initiates conversations, if she consistently engages with you, that's not coincidence, that's investment. And investment always reveals interest. Now here's something even more subtle: emotional tone. The way she speaks to you, her voice, her pace, her softness, can tell you more than the words themselves. A woman who feels emotionally connected will unconsciously adjust her tone. She becomes more present, more engaged, more responsive, There's a warmth in her voice that isn't forced, it's natural. And if you pay attention to that, you'll start to feel the difference between polite conversation and genuine interest. Physical behavior reinforces this even more. Leaning slightly closer, maintaining proximity, mirroring your movements without realizing it. These are not planned actions. They are instinctive responses to emotional connection. And because they are unconscious, they are incredibly honest. Now I want you to pause again. Think about the last meaningful interaction you had with a woman, not just what she said, but how she behaved. Was there consistency? Was there alignment? Or were you focusing only on what you wanted to hear instead of what was actually happening? This is where awareness becomes power, because once you start observing patterns instead of moments, everything becomes clearer. You stop chasing mixed signals. You stop overanalyzing every small gesture. And you start understanding people on a much deeper level. And if you're finding this helpful, make sure you're subscribed. In the next part, we're going to uncover something even more powerful, how confidence is built not by guessing, but by observing, and how mastering this one skill will completely change your experience. Now we're going to step into something that quietly transforms everything you've learned so far. Because understanding signals is only one part of the equation. The real shift happens when you stop guessing and start seeing clearly. Confidence is often misunderstood as something loud, bold, or dominant. But in reality, true confidence is quiet. It doesn't come from forcing outcomes or trying to impress. It comes from understanding what's actually happening. And that understanding begins with one simple skill: observation, not surface-level observation. I'm talking about deep, patient, emotionally intelligent observation, the kind that allows patterns to reveal themselves over time. Because here's the truth. When you rely on assumptions, you're reacting to a version of reality that exists only in your mind. But when you rely on observation, you're responding to what is actually real. And that difference changes everything. Let me explain this in a way that hits close to home. Imagine you meet a woman, and after one or two positive interactions, you start building a story in your head. She smiled at me. She must be interested. That's assumption. Now, imagine a different approach. You notice how she behaves over multiple interactions. You observe whether her attention is consistent, whether her body language aligns with her words. That's observation. Do you feel the difference? One creates pressure. The other creates clarity. One leads to overthinking. The other leads to calm confidence. Because when you truly observe, you don't need to force meaning. Meaning reveals itself naturally. And this is where most men unknowingly sabotage themselves. They rush to conclusions. They want answers immediately. They try to define the situation before it has fully unfolded. But human behavior doesn't work like that. Attraction, comfort, emotional connection, these things develop over time. They evolve. They shift. And if you try to label them too early, you distort your perception. That's why patience is not just important, it's essential. Because patience allows patterns to emerge. It allows you to separate genuine signals from random behavior. It allows you to see who she really is, not who you hope she is. And here's something even more powerful. When you operate from observation instead of assumption, your emotional reactions change completely. You stop reacting impulsively. You stop getting overly excited from one positive sign or discouraged by one negative moment. You become steady, grounded, in control of your perception. And that steadiness, that's what people experience as confidence. Not because you're trying to appear confident, but because you're no longer confused. You understand what you're seeing. And understanding creates certainty. Now let's talk about something that most people never talk about. Emotional control. When your perception is based on assumptions, your emotions become unstable. You feel high when things seem positive. You feel low when things seem uncertain. You constantly shift between confidence and doubt because your understanding is not grounded in reality. But when your perception is based on observation, everything stabilizes. You don't overreact, you don't chase, you don't withdraw unnecessarily, you respond instead of react. And that alone changes how women experience you, because emotional stability is deeply attractive. Not in a flashy way, but in a way that feels safe, grounded, and real. Now let me bring this back to everything we've discussed: body language, leg crossing, orientation, subtle cues. All of these signals are constantly being expressed. Every moment, every interaction. Attraction, comfort, and emotional intent are rarely spoken directly, but they are always present in behavior. The challenge is not finding signals. The challenge is understanding them without forcing meaning. Because when you rush, you misinterpret. When you assume, you distort. But when you observe, you see clearly. And clarity is power. Now let me give you one final scenario. You're sitting with a woman. At first, her body is slightly reserved, her legs crossed away, her posture a bit closed. Instead of reacting emotionally, you observe, you stay present. And over time, something shifts. Her body opens, her legs uncross and reposition toward you. She leans in slightly. Her tone softens. Her attention becomes more focused. Now here's the question. Did she suddenly become interested, or did she become comfortable enough to express what she was already feeling? This is the level of awareness I want you to reach, where you don't just see behavior, you understand the progression. Because attraction is not always instant. Sometimes it unfolds, and if you're too focused on immediate validation, you'll miss the deeper connection that's building right in front of you. Now take a moment and reflect on your own experiences again. How many times did you misread the beginning of an interaction because you didn't stay long enough to see how it evolved? How many times did you walk away too early or invest too quickly because you were reacting instead of observing? This awareness is what changes everything moving forward. Because from this point on, you're not just looking at what people do. You're understanding why they do it. You're seeing patterns instead of moments. You're recognizing consistency instead of chasing signals. And most importantly, you're no longer dependent on guesswork. You're grounded in reality, and that is where real confidence lives. If this shifted your perspective, share this with someone who needs it. And if you want to truly master this level of understanding, where you can read subtle signals, understand emotional patterns, and navigate attraction with clarity, then make sure you're subscribed to the Female Signals. Because what we're building here isn't just knowledge, it's awareness. And awareness changes the way you experience everything. I'll see you in the next one.